It's now time for
Check, please.
Coming up next on the D1 and Done Pod.
Welcome back into another edition of Sir, check please. As we have another midweek check-in of college basketball, I'm Robby Donahoe, Nick Mills, Dusty Mills alongside. By the way, that's going to get more outrageous as we continue to go on every single week with Check Please, so just be prepared. I've got other things planned. We use this as an opportunity to check in from the last few days of college hoops. We'll talk about and recap a game from this past week that caught our eye. We'll highlight a special performance that we think deserves a little bit of recognition, and then we'll also preview a game or two that we are looking forward to for this week. So, Nick, I want to start with you. Your game that caught your eye from the last few days. I have a good feeling what direction you're going to be going here.
Robby, I'm so excited to be on the pod today. I'm
glad you are.
I'm in Florida right now, so thank you guys for delaying this so I can do this. I golfed today. I'm a couple beers deep, but
drink responsibly, kids.
Excited. I drink responsibly. I did not drive home. So drink responsibly.
Good.
I'm here to recap Kentucky's 75-64 win over the Tennessee Volunteers. This show continues to own Tennessee. If nothing else on the pod, all we do is Rocky top that ass.
Yeah!
That's all we do on the D1 and Done pod.
Woo!
Yeah! And this one was sweet, Robby, because, let me get my notes out here. The Cats got done without Jackson Robinson. They did not have Lamont Butler the last time I played Tennessee, and they did not have Lamont Butler for the last 6-7 minutes of this past game either.
Yeah.
It was a sweet victory, it really was. Brea hit 2 massive threes down the stretch. But the story of the game were the white Kentucky boys from the Cats. Trent Noah.
Mountain Mamba!
Mamba! 5 massive threes from Travis Perry and Trent Noah. Trent Noah has career high in points in the first half, which was 9 great points. It was awesome. It just was such a great win. Since January 14th, everyone, the Kentucky Wildcats have 3 wins. 2 of them are against the Tennessee Volunteers.
Woo!
Thank you, Tennessee. They continue to be the gift that keeps on giving. And I have more good news for the Kentucky Wildcats. 6 of their next 8, and again, the SEC, the gauntlet, we all know it, despite being 500 in the last month or so. Shout out Carl Ravage. And then 6 of their next 8 games, Kentucky's playing unranked teams. The bad news is the 2 ranked teams are against number 1 and number 2 in the country. So very interesting stretch coming up for Kentucky. And the other side of it for Tennessee, kind of same old story. They can't score when it matters most.
Yeah.
Milicic was 3 of 4 from 3. Other than him, the Tennessee Volunteers were a swift 0 for 14 from the three-point line. Just a disgusting game from them, quite frankly, offensively. And for Tennessee, they get Vandy at home next game, and then 3 of the next 4 are against ranked teams. Doesn't matter. I'm so happy. Heck of a win for Pope. Pope is undefeated against Tennessee, Louisville, and Duke this year in year 1. This was a big 2-0 stretch for Kentucky to get momentum back going. Got to get healthy, but boy, am I happy for Robby and Dusty.
Well, so if you, the listener, is listening to this right now, you have as many Final Four appearances as the Tennessee Volunteers in men's Division I college basketball. We're not trying to, ostracize the Tennessee fan that is listening to this, but I'm sorry. It's so sweet. And
did you say fan, like the only Tennessee fan in the world is actually listening?
I probably not at this point. I think we've done enough to push them away. So at this point,
we're a worldwide pod. You never know, crap.
We are. We do have people that people that listen to us in Germany. By the way,
the emphasis was that there's only one Tennessee fan anywhere.
Oh yeah, there's money. Hey, be quiet! Dogs are barking.
Check, please.
Check, please. But new favorite nickname in college basketball, Mountain Mamba. That is absolutely fantastic. I'm concerned about the shoulder injury for Lamont Butler. They really need him. You can tell how much of a difference he makes when he's on the floor. Travis Perry making a couple threes gives him a little bit more confidence. They were probably going to need him to take on more of that role going forward. Tennessee, again, they are what they are. They're going to be a really good defensive team. They just cannot score. I mean, if you're scoring 64 points against Kentucky, you obviously are not much of an offensive threat. So I think this says more about Tennessee than it does Kentucky for me personally. This is a good win for Kentucky, don't get me wrong, and this gets them back on track. But I just have massive, massive questions about Tennessee, and this is kind of them trending that direction where I don't believe in them. I think they're falling into the same situation that they do almost every single year. But last year was kind of the anomaly because they had Dalton Connect. Chaz Lanier was that guy for a little while, and he's not there anymore. I mean, he was 0 for 7 from 3 in that game. If you can't hit threes against Kentucky, who are you going to make threes against?
It never felt like any of them were going in either. They felt just never smooth and never felt like they're going in at all either.
Yeah. So, big win for Kentucky. As Nick mentioned, it does get more challenging going forward, but that was a win they absolutely needed to have for the tournament resume and for confidence going forward with Mark Pope. And I hope we see more Trent Noah going forward because that was really fun to watch. Kind of see him take over. Dusty, your game to recap from this past week.
You're on mute, sir.
Don't forget to press the unmute button.
I'm going after the IU Michigan State game for some of our listeners, Joe Steele. Nice win for IU. Ended a 5-game skid. They were down 10, maybe 12 in the first half. Came back
12,
at a halftime lead. Yeah, and then never trailed in the second half. I love the fact that they're defending Bob Knight's legacy of Izzo still being tied with Bob Knight at 353.
Fantastic.
Big Ten wins. They've now lost 3 or 4. And actually down the stretch, Mbako hits 2 free throws in a 1-point game of 9 seconds left to hold on to the victory. I don't even remember. They won by 3, right?
Won by 4.
4, okay. One of the things that stood up to me was Michigan State's paint defense was miserable.
Yeah.
Gave up 38 paint points. They turned around and shot 4 of 23 from 3. Not that IU is much better. If you're Michigan State, this is frustrating because you out-rebounded IU and had more assists than IU. So I know Woodson come down to the wire. If they had any grasp of hope to send him out in any style, I mean,
yeah.
Need a Bob's wins. They have UCLA at home on Friday, I believe it is.
Yep, Friday. Valentine's Day from Bloomington, yeah.
V-Day, yep. So, yeah, I just thought for the IU fans, maybe it gives you a little hope, allows you to keep watching. And obviously, with Michigan State struggling right now, too, tough loss for them, but big win for the Hoosiers.
Very much so. And I think a couple things here. So, obviously, IU plays UCLA coming up Friday night. They don't have another game for 9 days. They don't play Purdue until almost a week and a half at home. So they're going to get a chance to kind of rest and heal and get going a little bit. I was immensely impressed with Malik Renew. He played awesome in that game. Ballo also had a good game. Luke Goody hit some big shots, especially in the first half, that kind of kept them within striking distance. Miles Rice coming off the bench, giving them big minutes. Man, I was immensely impressed with how IU played and how they especially played in the second half of this game to hold on late and kind of withstand the run that Michigan State made. But I have to go back to this Michigan State team. They just don't look good. They really don't. And I think we have fallen victim to
we jinxed them. We jinxed them.
No, I mean, I guess, but I've been saying since the beginning that, I think you did, Nick, more than I did. I've been saying since the beginning they are a good team. They're not a great team. Jace Richardson is a very good player. Jaden Akins is a very average three-point shooter. He should not be shooting 9 threes in the game. Michigan State should not be shooting 23 threes. They're not a three-point shooting team. You shoot 10 to 15, that's kind of the sweet spot. But they're not. Their big guys are just okay. They have good guards. You obviously have plenty of guys that you can bring off the bench. I think this Michigan State team, they are what they are. They're going to be a really good round of 32 team and knock on the door of the Sweet 16, maybe, but that's it. They have a limited ceiling that is very evident with how they've played in the last week or two. And as we mentioned, and no one wanted to admit it because everyone was falling in love, foaming at the mouth for Michigan State again with January, February Izzo, all that dumb crap. The schedule gets tougher. It does not get any easier. This was a game they should have had. Now after this, it's at Illinois, Purdue, at Michigan, at Maryland, Wisconsin. That's their next 5 games. all against ranked top 25 caliber teams. So I don't know if this is a wake-up call that Michigan State needed, but I have so many questions, and I don't know if Michigan State is as good as people are making them out to be.
Yeah, real quick, as someone who's been on Michigan State for a while now, this was the first loss I was really like, oh my gosh, maybe all the doubters really are correct. Because McKenzie Mbako hit one shot the whole game.
Right.
He literally had 2 points the whole game.
Yeah.
He killed him inside, and Balo got his fourth foul with 10-ish minutes to play. Mm-hmm. It really didn't matter. So, yeah, I still somewhat believe in Izzo, but, yeah, the confidence I had in him, this was the first loss. I was like, oh, boy, not good. And real quick on IU, you mentioned the road thing, Robbie. They don't have another road game again until March 1st. So they're just at home resting now. Jeez. So this really could be maybe the Woody. Maybe they get hot now, Robbie. Watch out. Watch out.
They absolutely could. Now, we have to – it is our sworn duty to at least make a mention of the coaching search right now at IU. And I swear to God, some of the nonsense that I'm seeing on Twitter about Brad Stevens is absolutely hilarious. And it's almost as if they are paranoid trying to talk themselves into thinking that Brad Stevens is coming to IU. And we said it from the beginning, and everyone else has continued to say it. It's not happening. It is not. There is 0% chance it is happening. You can make the call. You can you can fly out to Boston, go talk to him. It's not going to change a damn thing. You're not getting Brad Stevens. Okay? So stop trying to talk this into existence. We said last week, be realistic with your expectations on who you're going to get as a head coach. Chris Beard would be an excellent option. I still love Will Wade as my best option. I don't think he's reasonable, unfortunately. But we need to... I don't know what it is with IU fans and some of the dumb stuff I'm seeing on Twitter, but they are literally trying to troll people into thinking they have a chance to get Brad Stevens. And it's laughable that this continues to go on.
Robbie, I gotta say, as a Purdue fan, you're playing this horribly. Tell them they are 100% getting Brad Stevens. Get their hopes up as high as possible. You're playing this horribly, sir.
I'm trying to play the role as a good college basketball podcast host and be realistic here. That's not realistic at all.
Let the boys dream, Robbie. Let the fans have their moment. And actually, don't go to Boston. Meet him as Lake House and Wawa C is probably a way to win his heart over.
That's a good point. Yeah, showing up at
Crap, we're doing some info over there.
Showing up at Camp David and making sure that you can convince the president to come on over. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, but regardless, coaching search or not, that's a great win for IU. You saw how much you saw after the game with Mike Woodson came into the locker room. The players kind of all surrounded him and they kind of all celebrated. That was really cool. You could see how much that game kind of meant to him and meant to that team. And Nick, I'm with you. The schedule kind of opens up for them a little bit. And as we've said day in and day out on this show, the bubble is wildly soft. IU can 100% play their way into being in the tournament conversation because they have that opportunity. If they get that win against Purdue at home, everything opens up. And they got to start with UCLA coming up Friday night. They can beat UCLA. They got to be physical. You got to come with some emotion. I think there's that Assembly Hall is going to be on fire coming up Friday night because you have a little bit of momentum from that Michigan State win. So,
and make sure you make the Big Ten tournament too. Don't mess around.
I think they'll be fine.
That's a big win. Make sure you make the tournament.
Yeah, I think they're going to be fine on that front. They're going to make the Big Ten tournament. So that's one thing I'm not too worried about. So IU, great win. Looking much, much better now. It's amazing how one win can kind of change the trajectory and how you view a team. But that was a big win that they were able to get in East Lansing. So a great sign going forward. All right.
And Michigan State, Illinois next game. Another, like you said, big test for them.
It doesn't get any easier for Michigan State, man. They are hitting the tough part of their schedule. So we're going to learn really quickly what they're all about. To no surprise, the game that I will be talking about will be Purdue, Michigan. And that's Michigan winners over the Boilermakers, 75-73. Couple things that stand out from that game. First and foremost, Purdue had 0 bench points, which was very concerning. Cam Heide, Miles Colvin, Jakari Harris, Raleigh Burgess, all scoreless. Burgess had a 1-and-1 at the end of the game and missed the front end, so that wasn't great. Vlad Golden was fine. Danny Wolf was fine. The bigger shock of this game is going to be just how poor the officiating was, and it's sour grapes when people start talking about the officiating, and I understand, but there is some stats to come along with this. And I got these from Cobra Stats on Twitter. You can find him. He always has good information about Purdue. So on Tuesday night, Trey Kaufman-Renn became the first player in the last 20 seasons to attempt 19 two-pointers and have 0 free throws in a Big Ten regular season game. That's the first thing. Second thing, Purdue spent a total of 14 minutes and 16 seconds of game time, 1 foul short of reaching the bonus. That's the longest a power conference team has had to wait for foul number 7 this season by nearly a minute, and also the only time a team waited 6+ minutes in both halves. And you can make the argument that this was when Michigan went zone and they weren't as physical, whatnot. Some of the foul calls were just outright atrocious. Trey Kaufman-Renn, his 4th and 5th foul calls were ridiculous and stupid. As much as you want to say the officiating was bad, and it was, Purdue still almost won the game. But the bigger problem that Purdue had in this game was, for some reason, they just went away from trying to attack the middle of the zone and just dribbled or went past around the perimeter. And as all of us know, that's what the zone wants you to do. They want you to pass it around the perimeter and dribble around. The middle of the zone where you can collapse the zone, that is where you can find your success. And for some reason, Purdue stopped doing that in the second half of this game and went away from that and started to, when they went to the middle of the zone, then they almost did too many extra passing where they passed it down the block, and that allowed Vlad Gold and Danny Wolf to converge on the block and be able to stop shots at the rim. So the bigger part of the story is Purdue needs to do better at attacking zones. Second thing is, and I don't know if this is, again, sour grapes, but I came away not too impressed with Michigan. And that honestly makes me think that Dusty May needs to be in a position to win NCAA Coach of the Year with the job that he's done with this team. It's pretty astounding because their last 5 games, they've won by a combined 15 points. They are 5-0 in their last 5, and they've won by a combined 15 points, which is pretty extraordinary. So I come away from this bummed that Purdue lost, but not convinced that Michigan is the real deal. Thoughts?
I agree. I think Michigan's one of the oddest teams to figure out because you kind of lay out their last 8 games. Okay, let's go back. They lose at Minnesota, who's not very good. They barely beat Northwestern overtime at home. And then get smoked at Purdue, and then they win their next 5 games, which, again, will win to win, like you said, by 5 or less points. So, again, not the most, dominant 8 games, which, again, you are 6-2, so some Michigan fans be like, what are you talking about? We're 6-2 in an 8-game span. And they are first in the Big Ten, and I do like the Wolf-Golden combination. That being said, they just don't win in convincing fashion. And, again, they got smoked by Purdue, lost to Minnesota. They're really just odd team, and I really don't have much more further analysis than that, quite frankly.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Dusty, what do you think of Michigan?
Well, all their games are close. I'm not sure if besides the Purdue game, I'm not sure if that's good or bad. Even their losses are all very close.
Yeah.
Again, take out the Purdue game. So that kind of tells me they're probably going to be in almost every game, but I don't think you win 6 straight in this NCAA tournament, all by 3-point margins on average. So, I mean, unless you're having these few dominating games, I just don't. I haven't been on them at any point this year. So I've kind of ranked them a couple times by default. Even though I didn't really feel like they deserve it. So I'm with Nick. Golden, I still can't believe he's still playing, one of those guys. And Dusty May, I know he doesn't have to work on the resume, but maybe he's ready to get out there already and head down to Bloomington.
Perhaps. And he's basically doing this entire season without a true point guard. Like Trey Donaldson is the only real, I guess, kind of point guard they have, and he's more of a 2-guard for him. They're not a great shooting team. They're a solid rebounding team. They're okay defensively. Like, they're not great in any real area. And, we all kind of fell in love with Danny Wolf and how great he was to start the season. And he's just been solid, but he hasn't been a world beater at all. And that's kind of, I think, the bigger story with this Michigan team is I think they're solid across the board. Are they better than Michigan State? I honestly don't know. I think they're very even on that front. Michigan's probably a better three-point shooting team, but I mean, Michigan's best non-conference win is Xavier on a neutral floor. They really didn't play anyone. I mean, like they lost to Arkansas and they lost to Oklahoma on a neutral floor. They also lost to Wake Forest. They got a TCU win at home. That's about it. So their resume is not great because right now their best win is going to be the home win against Purdue. They have not played any of the other ranked teams or previously ranked teams outside of Oregon in the Big Ten. They end the season Sunday at Ohio State, then Michigan State at Nebraska, Illinois, Maryland, Michigan State again. So all of these schedules are backloaded when it comes to the top teams in the Big Ten. Purdue's the same way. So nothing has been decided in the Big Ten at all yet. We still have so much that we have to figure out. But I think one thing we have figured out is I don't think Michigan State, their ceiling is the Sweet 16. I don't know if they have the talent to get past that. Now, again, as we've talked about before on this show, can they get hot and get on a run? Any team can do that, absolutely. But they haven't shown for me that they can really, shock some people and get hot and do something crazy and make a run in the Final Four. I don't feel that from either team.
Yeah, again, Michigan's just a weird team. Because, again, if you're a Michigan fan listening to this, again, you're like, we're first in the Big Ten and we just keep on winning. What are you talking about? But, again,
right.
It's not the most – I don't know. They're just weird. I got nothing else really to say about them.
Yeah.
And, they play 2 7-footers who I like. It's very fascinating. Now there's rumors about Dusty May. It's all odd.
That's what I wonder how those rumors are going to affect this team. If the rumors materialize or if Dusty May comes out and actually – gets an extension or gets a raise or whatever, and they can put it aside, or if this lingers for a little while and there's some question marks and things start happening behind the scenes. So it will be interesting to follow if anything transpires from this.
Yeah, Purdue's fine going forward.
Yeah, I think Purdue will be okay. For me with Purdue, again, attack the middle of the zone. That's the biggest thing. Dear God, Miles Coleman and Cam Heide, figure it out. That continues to be the biggest head scratcher of all time right now. And Braden Smith, shoot as much as you want. Braden Smith is playing first team All-American minutes right now. He's probably the third best player in the country. It's Cooper Flagg 1, Janai Broome 2, and Braden Smith 3 right now. So I think let Braden Smith shoot as much as he wants. I think he continues to benefit from C.J. Cox being in there, kind of taking the onus of guarding one of the other team's better players. So Purdue's fine. They'll be okay. They play Wisconsin coming up Saturday. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. I want you all to pick out a highlight performer from the week. I guess I will. Can I start? I would love to start because I want to start with my Kansas State Wildcats, and they're my. That's mine, okay? I get that one. You have your Kentucky one. I have my Kansas State one. How about K-State? Like, slowly but surely, I know K-State's non-conference is going to hold them back, but Doug McDaniel is playing like a freaking rock star. He was awesome at the end of that game against Arizona, made some crazy tough shots. If anyone figures out he only goes right, that's when I'm going to be concerned. But don't say that. But Kansas State has been playing great defensively. Their offense has been very fluid, moving without the basketball has been great. Arizona's a really tough team. I kind of lump Arizona in with Michigan State and Michigan, where I think they're good. I don't think the ceiling's very high for them, in my opinion. But Kansas State and Doug McDaniel, who had 24 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 5 steals. He was just a man possessed at the end of that game and took over for the Wildcats to get that win over Arizona. He is my guy to highlight. And, I mean, you also have to mention Liam McNeely. First game back, 38 points. He was an absolute monster in the win over Creighton. As much as I don't want to give UConn credit, I'm sure we'll talk about that game more in a moment. But, Nick, your highlight performer from the last 3 days.
I'm renaming my guy or my award. I'm calling Nick's Nathan Scott Performer of the Week. Okay, because Nathan Scott played 40 minutes again. They just do not sit him. Had 22 points and win over, I should have written it down, but they beat someone. The Yellow Jackets didn't, so shout Nathan Scott. I'm going to start mine.
Didn't they beat Florida? No, they lost. No, Florida State won. Who did Georgia Tech beat? It was NC State, yeah. Or no. No, it was Stanford. They beat Stanford. Sorry.
Oh,
Louisville blew out NC State. Wake Forest blew the game late against Florida State. So, yeah. Oh, gosh. Poor Wake Forest.
I'm going to start off my Nathan Scott Performer of the Week by asking you guys a question. Does you remember Sir Isaac Newton's scientific law?
Something about gravity.
Crab, you're on mute. I thought you mouthed something.
I mean, you mean like E equals MC squared?
That's
Close.
Albert Einstein.
Yeah, the other famous is...
Sorry, I don't study my sciences from the 1600s.
Christ.
F-bomb.
You're the smartest guy in this room, and you don't know E equals MC squared is attributed to Albert Einstein?
I mean, I knew it's a smart guy.
Oh, my gosh. All right, anyway, Nick, continue.
The answer is, what goes up must come down.
There you go.
Which sounds like Sir Isaac Newton is talking about his Woody Newton. No?
Yeah.
Speaking of Woody Newton, he had 27 points for the George Mason Patriots as they got the big 76-74 on Tuesday, I think it was. Big time win. The Patriots are 20-5, 11-1, first place in the A-10 now. And shout out Woody Newton again. Again, not Sir Isaac Newton's Woody, but rather Woody Newton, who's been averaging 7 points per game and had only scored 30 points the previous 7 games. But he scored 27 in the big-time win. Shout out Woody Newton. Shout out Nathan Scott. George Mason's back. And shout out Tony Skinn.
Tony Skinn, baby. Tony Skinn. This is his team. Former starting point guard for the Final Four George Mason team. He's back at George Mason, and he's got him at 20-5, as you mentioned overall, 11-1 in the conference. That was a dang good win at St. Louis. That is not an easy place to win with how good the Billikens have played at home this year. So great shout out.
Ready for a fight there, Robbie. Gotta be ready for a fight.
You sure do. You sure do. Dusty, your highlight performer from the last few days.
It has been a sad year down Coral Gables.
Oh, gosh.
That it has.
Yes. And Larinaga let them down. I'm sure he's on the beach right now. Good for him. But senior Matthew Cleveland, they finally got a win at home against Syracuse this week. And Cleveland dropped 32 in that victory over Syracuse. I know Syracuse is not the Syracuse of past, but shout out to him. Senior, they're now 2-11 conference play.
Oh, gosh.
Do we notice every ACC team make the ACC tournament?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, so here you go. Hot take. Mr. Cleveland is going to lead them to a little run in the ACC tournament to at least the quarterfinals.
Whoa. That's a send it in Jerome right there.
That might be the hottest take in a year and a half since he would have done. I love it.
That's crazy.
Just wait for it.
By the way, did you know that Eddie Lampkin is still playing college basketball and he's on that Syracuse team? Eddie Lampkin, he has to be 25 years old.
Well, he had 22 in that loss.
I know. But remember, because he was at TCU. He was at Colorado last year. He was at TCU before that. This is his 5th season of college basketball. He's got to be 24 years old.
I like he just picks like the 8th best program in each conference. I like that. TCU, Colorado, Syracuse. That's a good. He has a type. Shout out Eddie.
I will say, if you guys get bored, look up his team photo. He looks 47.
Yeah, he's got a look to him.
Yeah, he's seen some things.
Well, he's from Houston, so that probably doesn't equate for the aging.
Possible thing as well. All right. Upcoming weekend should be some great hoops coming up Saturday. As we mentioned, Friday, IU UCLA. If you want to snuggle up with your significant other on Valentine's Day and enjoy some sweet, sweet hoops from Bloomington, that's going to be your time to do so. I will have boots on the ground for Wisconsin at Purdue. Should be a good one between the Boilers and the Badgers. Again, this is one of those kind of Braden Smith effort games, I think. I expect Purdue to win. I expect them to potentially win by double digits. You won't like me when I'm angry. I feel like this is kind of what Purdue has become. We're
not rooting for this, Robbie, but if Wisconsin wins, a chance really they're a real statement for them finally.
Yes.
Because it been kind of like lingering.
Yeah, that great word, linger. That's kind of I felt like that's kind of been Wisconsin all year. Is they've been good? Have they been great? I don't know if I would say that. Good win on the road at Iowa last week. They've had a full week to rest for this one, but They really, I mean, their best win non-conference right now is it's Arizona, yes, but at the time that wasn't looking good. Other than that, it was probably either Pitt or UCF. So they have kind of taken advantage of the middle of the Big Ten. The Nebraska win looks a little bit better as well, but their into the season is very navigable. You got Purdue and Illinois, then Oregon, Washington, Minnesota, Penn State. So if Wisconsin can somehow get this one on Saturday, it opens up for the Badgers. But again, I think Purdue's going to come out angry and mad, and they're going to get that win. But the other game I'm excited about, Houston and Arizona, is going to be a great one. And that's another one that Arizona has an opportunity to prove itself. Are they really going to be the team that, kind of ducks the trend of them going out early in the tournament? We'll see. Dusty, your game to watch for this weekend?
So I knew about this game earlier this week just from the bottom line. Tonight, actually, is San Francisco at Gonzaga.
Yes.
11 o'clock if you guys want to stay up. Nightbirds. I was stunned, not totally, but it's a 14.5-point spread.
I saw that too. I was a bit surprised by that as well.
I was trying to find if San Fran had an injury, and I'm not seeing anything that's popping out.
I think it's the odds makers just assuming that it's Gonzaga at home, but that's kind of been a mixed bag as well. It's sometimes they do blow teams out at home like Oregon State. I had them as one of my locks recently, and then other times it's St. Mary's can come in and make it interesting.
It's a big game for the West Coast Conference.
Very much so, yeah. Yeah, if San Francisco wins that game, then all of a sudden Gonzaga's not winning the West Coast Conference. It's going to be San Francisco or St. Mary's.
So that was the game I want to focus on, but in honor of Valentine's Day, I do, instead of Friday Night Fun, or whatever you gentlemen want to call them, ladies.
Or another F word.
Well, I was going to say Friday Night Love, because no one slips the F word on the show.
Of course.
So I had 3 games to focus on, as you all are making sweet, passionate love after your dinners and roses and the petals and rubbing chocolates on things.
That was not subtle.
Good Lord. Just eat the chocolate. Why are we rubbing it on anything?
Well, because then you eat what you rub the chocolate on.
I just shouldn't even ask that. Bad question. Continue.
Good question, host.
I do have 3 things. 1, Yale still undefeated in the Ivy. They play tomorrow night.
Come on, John Polikitis, baby. Keep riding the wave.
I love that matchup. You know what I don't love?
Colgate being so bad lately?
No, Green Bay. I'm looking at the BPI, which I don't necessarily love. I want to see where Green Bay was. They're still winless, but they moved up a spot in the BPI.
I'm sorry.
Out of 364 teams, they're actually 337. So Gottlieb climbing the ranks.
Wait, crap. So Green Bay's playing Friday?
Yeah.
So Gottlieb's already working 2 jobs. Now he can even spend time with his wife on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Poor guy.
She's not loving that.
Green Bay is 343 in KenPom, which is not last like Missouri Valley State, which is at 364.
That's what it is on here too.
Yeah. So, which by the way, that BPI that ESPN has still projects North Carolina to have an 88% chance of making the tournament.
Wow.
Which is hilarious.
And Louisville's like 51.
Yeah.
You guys want to guess the lowest mid-major team real quick?
The lowest mid-major team?
Yeah, how do you realize that they're this bad? Yeah, not SWAC, not MEAC, obviously not the Power 5. It's a Division 1 football, 1A football team. School.
Okay. Pacific.
You're
the MAC.
It is the MAC.
Eastern Michigan?
Western Michigan. Central Michigan.
Michigan survived.
Northern Illinois.
It's a team that their nickname sounds like an NFL team when you put it together.
Buffalo Bulls.
Good job.
Oh, Buffalo. Woo! Man, it was not that long ago when Nate Oates was at Buffalo and winning the games and taking them to the tournament. So, yeah, geez.
Yeah, and Bobby Hurley? Was he there?
Was Bobby Hurley at Buffalo?
Did I make that up? I think he was there.
I thought he was at no, it was Dan Hurley was at Rhode Island, or no. Who was that?
Yeah, he was at Buffalo.
How really?
Yeah.
So Buffalo went from Bobby Hurley to Nate Oates? Like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive. Okay.
To Sean McDermott, who likes the Taliban. It's just a lot of things going on in Buffalo.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Hurley's, Dan loves his 2 rings. He's made that apparent.
Gosh. Can he just not do dumb crap at just ever?
No.
Like, I mean... Oh, Lord.
I'm starting to realize he looks like a psychopath, too.
He looks like it.
Okay, sorry, yes. He fits the bill.
Yes.
Last game, the obvious one, we already talked about UCLA IU. Good luck for your Hoosier fans. And the last thing I love is doing this pod and talking about my next shout out, which I'm already loving for next Tuesday.
Oh boy, here we go.
Monday. Wow.
I mean, if we have to do it Tuesday, we can. But yeah, we got to stick with Monday, Thursday pods.
Yeah. Do you not love President's Day?
I mean, I'm gonna go buy a mattress. That's what we do on President's Day.
Wow. Shouldn't you have the mattress ready for tomorrow?
No, the key is to wear out the mattress on that day and then upgrade when you have the chance to do so on President's Day.
Baby.
Yeah. Anyway,
speaking of Valentine's Day, my game to watch.
Kids, please drink responsibly.
Since I'll be watching with my mother, yes, my mother will be my Valentine's because I am single.
No one's laughing. That's cute. I like that.
Oh, okay. Ha ha ha. Thanks, Robby. I appreciate it. So
fun.
it
That's
will be
cute.
So I'll be watching my mother, who is
sweet.
an IU fan we mentioned. So I'll be watching that game again. Can they string a little streak here going?
Yeah.
After the big win Tuesday, and we've not mentioned it. Number 1 versus number 2 Saturday. Alabama Auburn, the marquee game, 4:00. They both kicked butt on Tuesday, I believe it was. Is this game in Tuscaloosa, I believe?
I believe so. Yes.
So yeah, also the game to watch. Great weekend of hoops, All-Star weekend as well. Enjoy it, y'all.
And I know we didn't get a chance to mention it on the on our game recap, but we also need to shout out JT Toppin, what he did last night for Texas Tech. 41 points, 15 rebounds in that double overtime win over Arizona State. Absolutely bonkers of a game. If you have not gone back to watch that game, do so. Also, I love St. John's. Even if they lost, I love St. John's. They are basically a better version of the VCU Shaka Smart Havoc teams, in my opinion. They just can't shoot it very well.
Go ahead, Crab.
I also love Rick Pitino's quote last week when he was asked about his conference record. They said, if we told you that you're going to be 12-1 at this time of year, how would you reply? And he said on the mic, I'd ask how we lost that one game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's people are saying, did Kyle Neptune save his job?
Yeah.
No. Eric Dixon might have saved him his job, or Wooga Poplar. Both of them went bonkers. Like, some of the shots Eric Dixon was hitting on Wednesday night were just absolutely atrocious. They had no business going in. Villanova did win that game, but they had a horseshoe shoved up their butt that entire last 4 minutes of that game.
Is that a preamble for tomorrow?
Perhaps. I don't know.
You know what's crazy? This is how much Kyle Neptune struggled at Villanova. The fact we've mentioned Eric Dixon's name in, a year of potting, twice on the show, shows how much he's just wasted him this past 2 years. So shout Eric Dixon. One more year. Bring him back, Nova.
I went back and watched an old Villanova game. Or no, I watched when they were in the Final Four playing Kansas, and Eric Dixon was out there playing significant minutes. I was like, that was 4 years ago. How are you still here?
What a world.
Gosh.
All right, last 2 things I love, and then I'm done with this bit.
Woody Newton.
I think we all, good man. Mm-hmm. I think we all love Jamie Dixon. I know we all love buzzer beaters. Last night, TCU against Oklahoma State. I'm sorry for pronunciation. Is it Vashawn Alette?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I never heard
sounds
of him.
Right.
If you guys, fans, get a chance to go watch this buzzer beater, a wild full court play, the ball just happens to bounce to him to the point where the defender didn't really know what to do, and he turned around and hit 3 at the buzzer to give TCU a 73-72 win.
That's a bummer. That's against I know, that's against Oklahoma State. That's against my former Purdue head coach Steve Lutz. Yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Speaking of that, I don't know. There was another buzzer beater from earlier this week where they had to throw it full court in a second and a half instead of trying to throw to an open player. I can't remember what team it was. They actually just threw it off the backboard and just went and chased the basketball and put it up at the buzzer to win, which I think is brilliant. And
that's genius. I'd never thought about that.
I haven't either.
You need someone with an accurate arm, though.
Right, of course, yes. But, I mean, hit anywhere on the back, any kind of crazy carom and just be around the basket and someone pick it up and put it in to win the game. It's very, very smart. So I wonder.
That'd be the perfect play to put Roscoe Smith in and tell him to try to make it.
What I can't wait for is when someone tries it and they just smoke someone the first row. That's going to be my favorite. Or God bless a cheerleader not paying attention. It's going to work out hilariously one time, and I can't wait.
Very much so. All right. I'm taking the mantle for question of the night to finish it off. What is your guys' biggest fear?
The darkness after death.
Okay. Spider. Gosh, that's so basic. Spiders.
Fine, darkness.
Darkness. Dusty.
Well, kind of going off to what Nick said, mine's going down in a plane.
Oh, that's your biggest fear?
I hate flying.
Oh, interesting.
I fly twice next week. I already think about it at night.
Oh, okay.
I think about different things at night, quite frankly.
Boy.
Your mom on Valentine's Day?
Just yeah. Valentine's Day just brings out the best in Nick, I guess. My biggest fear is letting down the ones that I love. I don't want to fail my friends. So hopefully I didn't do so with this pod here tonight. And my dog's constantly barking. So that is it for this edition.
We love you, Robby. Thanks for all the work you do for the pod. Of course. We love you.
That's another edition of Check Please. We'll be back with our regularly scheduled pod coming up on Monday. Not this Monday, but the Monday after that, we are going to have another special guest that has Missouri and IU connections. So very excited.
Tamar Bates?
Not Tamar Bates, no. But she is a big Tamar Bates fan. So we will be excited to have her on. That's a little bit of a teaser for you guys to enjoy for the future. So something to look forward to, something to keep an eye on going forward. So that is this. Does it for this edition of Check Please. We appreciate all of you tuning in and thank the good Lord above. None of you are watching the Zoom stream right now because there are some questionable things that may or may not be happening. I guess
Why is your dog in there, crap?
I guess that's what happens when it's Valentine's Day. So for Nick, for Dusty, I'm Robby. Thanks for listening to this episode of Check Please on the D1 and Done Pod Network. We will see you on Monday for our next episode of the show. Enjoy the college hoops. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Rocky top my you-know-what.
Yeah!